Good afternoon, my YouTube family. Good afternoon, Clubhouse. I see you, Lady Dawn. Thank you for joining me. I am Tamara Johnson Shealey, y'all. It is Labor Day 2021. Happy Labor Day for those of us who labor. That will be all of us. I think we all need a break, a moment to unwind, decompress. Whatever we need to do to get ourselves back in some sort of balance, we need to take every holiday to do it. I do believe. But today, I did not want to not come to you because I know many of you are at home or, maybe just kind of lounging. I figured you'd take the opportunity to listen in. So I didn't want to miss Keeping Up with Congress today. So we are here. I am here. So if you are following me right here on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, hit that notification, y'all, and share. Lady Dawn, you can ping some folks in the room. That will be great. Let them know we are here. I saw them over in the Clubhouse spaces, chopping it up. Clubhouse was kind of light yesterday and today. I think people are just needing a break. I get it. But we got a campaign to the United States Senate that we can't take too many breaks. So I took yesterday to kind of decompress, but I wasn't going to miss today. So we are moving forward. We got a race to win. So on this Labor Day, I wanted to take the opportunity to share some Black Labor Day history, right? Some Black history about Labor Day. I'm going to make my screen, y'all, my screen larger so you can see it right here. But this article talks about the Black history behind Labor Day. The Black history behind Labor Day. This is from the Challenger. It says Labor Day was founded after the Pullman strike of 1894, when President Cleveland was hoping to gain political allyship by honoring railroad workers. It says, however, the story about the involvement of the Black Pullman's porters in the labor movement is not always told. And we know that to be true. Our stories are not always told. And if they are, y'all, they told the way they tell them, not the way they really happened or nowhere near the truth. But it says the Pullman porters were Black men who worked in the train cars attending to their mostly white passengers, performing such tasks as shining shoes, carrying bags, and janitorial services. It says during this period, this profession was the largest employer of Blacks in the nation and constituted a significant portion of the Pullman company's workforce. It says despite Black porters being a significant part of the Pullman's workforce, they were not allowed to strike and were also denied access to the labor union. Telling our story, y'all. It says this led Black railroad workers to form their own union, the Brotherhood of the Sleeping Cars Porters, which was the first Black union in America. A. Philip Randolph was the first president of the union, and he was also the brains behind the first march on Washington. I'm going to put a pin right there because we just got finished reading. Of those of you who don't know, I come from the beauty and barber industry. I'm the leader and organizer and founder of a 2-in-1 organization, and part of what we do is to address health and safety, but the other part of what we do is we address the political side of the beauty and barber industry, specific to the licensed professional. But what I want to tell you about this article, where it talks about A. Philip Randolph, part of what we do is we read, y'all. I'm encouraging my licensed beauty and barber professionals to read our history, because A. Philip Randolph, his wife, was a beauty professional. She was a hairdresser. And if it wasn't for her supporting him, he wouldn't have been able to do the work that he was doing because there was no money in it. But his wife, because she was a beauty professional, was able to hold the family together while A. Philip Randolph did his work. So I just wanted to share that with you guys because it was such fascinating history. When I read it, I was like, wow, it just shows you how, our hair, Black hair, and doing, personal services, barbering and cosmetology services really carried a lot of weight in with the civil rights movement. So going back to the article, it says the march ended up being called off. This is the March on Washington after President Roosevelt met with Randolph and other civil rights leaders. It says the event was canceled because President Roosevelt signed an order barring racial discrimination in the federal defense industry. It says this was a major win for Randolph and other civil rights activists, as it allowed many Black people to get employed in industries that they were barred from. It said it would not have happened if it were not for the Black workers fighting for equality in the workforce. It says, while folks are enjoying the Labor Day holiday, let's make sure we pay homage to those who fought for us to enjoy the day with family and friends. So telling our story, y'all, telling our story, the Pullmans, and how they really set the bar for what we now know as our Labor Day. Nice picture, nice picture. All right, another article that I found, you know, I always like to bring you reparations information. I found this one quite interesting. This is an article out of Wisconsin. It says, let me make my screen larger for those of you that are watching over in, there you go, watching on YouTube. It says a national debt. It says, should government compensate for slavery and racism? So this is an article. I'm going to just read the first part of it. The middle and the latter part of it gets into the history, and then pretty much closing the argument, which we already know that the government should. So we're not going to even go that far. But I just want to read you the first part. It says, Reggie Jackson, a writer from the Milwaukee Independent and the former head griot or oral historian at America's Black Holocaust Museum in Milwaukee, has a long history of military service in his family stretching back to the Civil War. It says, but when two of his uncles who served in World War II returned to their home state of Mississippi, they found their veteran status wasn't enough to reap the benefits of the GI Bill passed in 1944. And this is where we talk about the history of us not getting the benefits of the GI Bill. It says this is because Jackson's uncles were Black. It says the Servicemen's Readjustment Act provided veterans with financial aid to reduce the possibility of a post-World War II depression. It said, but Jackson said that two components of the GI Bill, receiving free college tuition and attaining home loans under the VA Guarantee Home Loan Program, were not available to his uncles at the time. The article goes on to say, in many southern states like Mississippi, Black soldiers were denied access to these wealth-building programs. And when it came time to college, many were denied the opportunity to attend southern state schools because of segregation. It says only 12% of Black veterans born between 1923 and 1928 were enrolled in college programs, and on average spent fewer months in the program than white veterans. The article goes on to say these barriers continue to exact a toll on the wealth of Black Americans who own and earn just a fraction of their white counterparts. The article says the making of the racial wealth gap starts with slavery, but University of Wisconsin-Madison history professor Stephen Kantrowitz said after the institution was formally abolished, it manifested in other ways. It says many Blacks could not qualify for Social Security as jobs typically held by Black workers, such as agricultural and domestic positions, were excluded from the program. So not only were we excluded from the GI Bill, y'all, we were excluded from the Social Security as well. Goes on to say Black residents also were blocked from getting some home loans and from living in the types of neighborhoods where home values were steady or rising. Such barriers made it nearly impossible for Black people to acquire and accumulate wealth at the rate of white Americans. So he understands, this Mr. Kantrowitz. He's a professor at the University of Wisconsin. Yeah, we understand, and we know too. Like I said, the rest of the article is pretty much what we already know. Those of us who are part of the reparations movement, goes into the argument of what Evanston is doing, and talks about the inequities Interesting article, y'all. I'm not going to read any more because I don't want to. We know reparations is due. Reparations is now. We don't need to argue it. Just cut the check. We just need to convince more and more people to get on board with our program. Right? There it is. So I am Tamara Johnson Shealey, y'all. We're going to dive into these House bills. We're going to dive into these U.S. Senate bills because I told you we will not, and I repeat, we will not get reparations, y'all, without negotiations. We got to know the players. We got to know the game. We got to know their sweet spots because we won't get reparations without negotiations. So let's continue to push from where you are. Don't stop talking about reparations. I know people get tired of us talking about it. I don't care. I'm gonna talk about it till I can't talk about it no more until we get it. So let's dive in. So I wanted to bring you some, as the Congress will slowly come back into session. You know, they usually take the month of August off and they come back after Labor Day. Session will be in full swing, but there's a couple of committee hearings that I wanted to make sure that you were aware of. So this one is scheduled for the 9th. That is this Thursday. Actually, I see here where it's been postponed. See, they ain't really ready to come back and work. Y'all here, I just see right here on the screen it says postponed. Interesting. But nevertheless, y'all, let's keep our eyes on it. It says the future of biomedicine. Translating biomedical research into personalized healthcare. Biomedical research into personalized healthcare. I don't know how y'all feel about this science and technology and health, and you know, some of it I understand, but I don't know how far science is gonna go. But science will go as far as we allow it to, and it makes me, it's unnerving. I'm not gonna say a whole lot because I have yet to be as vocal as I probably would like to be. So let's just keep our eye on how far science and medicine will continue to merge. And that's where I think I have the issue, when they start to merge and we don't know where science and personal health, where our personal health will supersede the science. So I don't know. It's unnerving, and I think we need to keep an eye on it. So this again was a hearing that was scheduled for the 9th. I see here that it's been postponed, but we're gonna still keep our eyes on Congress, y'all. This is a bill that's scheduled for the 10th. That's Friday the 10th, 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It says protecting renters during the pandemic, reviewing reforms to expedite emergency rental assistance. So let's keep our eyes on, you know, this pandemic has caused a lot of people to, you know, to not be stable. And it's, you know, they went on, Congress decided to still go on recess. They still took their August break in the middle of that moratorium. We got to keep our eyes on it, y'all. There's a lot of people that's hurting and they look like us. So let's keep our eyes on Congress. This is a hearing for Friday. Hopefully they won't postpone it. So let's dive in. Again, if you have not gone to the website, please go to the website. I see you, Don. I see you, PD, GAF, hey, family over in the YouTube space. If you haven't gone to the website, I ask that you do. It is Tamara, TAMARA 4 FOR, Georgia spelled out.com. Go to the website, y'all. Make a contribution. Make a contribution. This is heavy, heavy lifting. And the one thing that I could say, I put a post on social media today, and I talked about, you know, I called it a Labor Day ask, is that people really support the broadcast, really support my efforts, really support the campaign, just support and do what you can, do what you can, do what you can, y'all. It's heavy lifting, and it requires this is the kind of campaign, a statewide campaign, that you got to be able to compete. And when you compete, that means you got to be in the media, and media is not cheap at all. I can tell you from the 2020 campaign, a 60-second ad, one was about $125 per spot in the metro areas. So that was a cheap one. So imagine $125 per 60-second in one demographic, one radio station. Just the cost, y'all, is astronomical. So we got to be able to compete. Go to the website, y'all. Make a contribution. So let's dive into the House bills. HR 1016. HR 1016 is the Animal Cruelty Enforcement Act of 2021. Animal Cruelty Enforcement Act of 2021. This is Representative Joe Najus, Democrat out of Colorado. Y'all, I found this bill interesting. It says this bill establishes, listen to this, a new section in the Environmental and Natural Resource Division of the Department of Justice to enforce federal laws concerning animal cruelty. So they can create a brand new section in the Environmental and Natural Resources Division of the Department of Justice. The same way they can create a new section for animal cruelty is the same way we can create a reparations administration, right? Same way. HR 1016. HR 1017 is the No Fencing at the United States Capitol Complex Act. No Fencing at the United States Capitol Complex Act. And I found this one interesting. Representative Norton, Eleanor Holmes Norton, Democrat, DC at large. So this bill prohibits the use of federal funds for permanent fencing around the perimeter of any U.S. Capitol buildings or grounds. So normally you wouldn't see a Democrat saying no to the fencing, right? That's why I found this interesting. Like, this is a Democrat. Who is she? Woo, looked her up. She looked like she black. She might be black. I'm like, okay, so this is a black woman Democrat that's saying no fencing. So I want to hear her words. It says permanent fencing would send an un-American message to the nation and the world by transforming our democracy from one that is accessible and of the people to one that is exclusive and fearful of its own citizens. She said already the distance between government and the people has grown, with trust in government at historic lows. It said we should not entrench that distance further by placing intimidating barriers between ourselves as public servants and the people we serve. It says especially when such barriers are neither effective nor necessary. It says in her introductory remarks, Norton highlighted the fact that security experts are already brainstorming innovative ways to protect the Capitol without permanent fencing, and called on her colleagues to foster that dialogue and welcome fresh ideas, not default to an archaic security strategy that humans invented over 10,000 years ago. So she is against that damn fencing. I don't like it either. I mean, it makes us look like it is un-American. It is, it makes us look like, who are you protecting? You scared of us? Yeah. I know January the 6th was frightening for all of them, but I don't know about this fencing. There could be other ways to do it with, instead of these barbed wires, and I don't know. She called it out. I was surprised that a Democrat would actually say something. So HR 1018 is the reservist, y'all. Excuse me, y'all. I haven't had lunch. I should have ate before I tried to do this today, but I will afterwards. It says Reservist Pay Equity Act of 2021. This is Representative Jimmy Panetta, Democrat out of California. It says this bill increases the rate of the differential wage payment tax credit from 20% to 50% and requires that the maximum dollar amount of such credit be adjusted for inflation after 2021. It says the credit is allowed to employers for their employees who are active duty members of the armed services. So I just wanted to understand this better, like the reservist pay equity. So it says this bill is to encourage employers to continue to pay employees that are members of the National Guard and reserves while activated. So it says employers who hire military reservists and National Guard members are not required to pay those service members when they are deployed. It says, however, employers may receive a tax credit for paying their employed military reservists and National Guard members differential wages, which helps these service members offset financial challenges while activated. It says the bipartisan Reservist Pay Equity Act increases the tax credit employers receive from 20% to 50%. So they're giving them an incentive to continue to pay service members that are employees that are sent out and deployed. So that is Democrat Jimmy Panetta out of California. HR 2019, this is the e-bike act. And I thought this is Jimmy Panetta again. I thought this was an interesting piece of legislation. I'll tell you why in just a minute. It says this is the electrical bicycle incentive kickstart for the Environment Act, or the e-bike act. It says this bill allows a refundable tax credit for 30% of the cost of a qualified electric bicycle. It says the credit is limited to $1,500 per taxpayer, less all credits allowed for the 2 preceding taxable years. So a qualified electric bicycle is a 2-wheeled vehicle that is, among other things, equipped with an electric motor of less than 750 watts that is capable of propelling such vehicle. So here's what I thought. I think, e-bike, having a bike, you see this picture of this man on this electric bike. Yes, I get it. But the first thing I thought was children, if you got kids, I mean, I guess you could put a little seat on the back and you could ride them. And I thought about the rain and I thought about the cold or the heat. I'm like, I don't know how many people would opt to go totally into this kind of initiative. I think it's fun. It looks fun, but I don't know if that could be my life, because when it gets cold or if it's raining, I don't want to be in the elements. So this Senate e-bike act could make electric bikes a lot cheaper. They're making them a lot cheaper. So it says the e-bikes are more expensive than normal bikes, typically costing anywhere from $1,000 to $8,000 for some of the more high-end models. It says, but they also have the potential to replace car trips for a lot of people. I don't know if they're going to replace my car trips. With the recent study finding that if 15% of car trips were made by e-bike, carbon emission would drop by 12%. Now, I appreciate that part, that if we could get into these e-bikes, we could, we could help with climate. And yeah, I'm with it. But y'all, if it gets cold, I don't want to get wet in the rain. If I got to go to the grocery store, how I'm gonna put all my groceries on the bike. They're gonna have to make it, work in a bigger way. But I think it's good legislation. I think, for those that are like live in the cities and, you're single, and it could work. HR 1020, y'all. HR 1020 is the New Business Prevention Act, New Business Preservation, y'all. New Business Preservation Act. Representative Dean Phillips, a Democrat out of Minnesota. It says this bill establishes and provides funding for the Innovation and Startups Equity Investment Program, through which the Department of the Treasury, hear this, must work with states to invest in new businesses and startups. I like that. Yeah, new businesses and startups. I want us to take full advantage of this Biden administration, y'all. These Democrats trying to make it rain. Don't miss it. New businesses and startups, we'll take it. HR 1020. Let's dive into these Senate bills, y'all. We got about 5 more minutes. Hopefully I can get them all in. I got 5 bills, 5 minutes. Let's see if I can get them all in. It says S566. This is a bill to designate the facility of the United States Postal Service located at 42 Main Street in Slatersville, Rhode Island, as the Specialist Matthew R. Turcotte Post Office. So this is the renaming of a post office. Senate Bill 566. Senate Bill 567 is the Southern Nevada Economic Development and Conservation Act. Southern Nevada Economic Development and Conservation Act. Senator Catherine Cortez Masto. I found this bill interesting, y'all, because it's about land. I told you I take special interest in food, air, water, and land. Food, air, water, and land. So this is about land. It transfers approximately 41,000 acres of land to be held in trust for the Moapa Band of Paiutus of the Moapa River Indian Reservation. It adjusts the boundaries of the Red Rock National Conservation Area to include additional lands. It adjusts the boundary of the Rainbow Gardens area of critical environmental concern to exclude certain land, and it conveys upon request certain federal land to a government entity in Clark County for any public purpose. So this is some transferring of some lands and reading sound like some negotiations and renegotiations. Senator Catherine Cortez Masto is a Democrat out of Nevada. Senate Bill 568. Senate Bill 568 is the Entity List Verification Act. This is Rick Scott, Republican. We know who he is, out of Florida. I looked this one up. It says the Entity List Verification Act to protect Americans' national security by requiring the Secretary of Commerce to provide certification to Congress before moving an entity from the Department of Commerce's entity list. It says the entity list is a tool used to restrict the export, re-export, and transfer of items to individuals, organizations, and companies reasonably believed to be involved or to pose a significant risk of becoming involved in activities contrary to the national security or foreign policy interests of the United States. So Marco Rubio has something to say about this, so I just will read his statement. It says the entity list is an essential tool to protect our national security and foreign policy interests. It says it is no secret that state-owned and directed Chinese companies like Huawei routinely steal U.S. intellectual property, seek to undermine our national security and industrial capabilities, and support a range of human rights abuses. It is critical that malign actors such as Huawei is Chinese, y'all, remain on the entity's list unless the administration can certify to Congress that they are no longer a threat. So I told you there's a lot of things we see with keeping up with Congress: abortion, veterans, immigration, national security, and this is one of them: national security, gun legislation, and streamlining the processes. This is a national security issue. This is Senator Rick Scott, Republican, out of Florida. Couple more bills, couple more minutes. Senate Bill 569 is the Gilt Edge Mine Conveyance Act. This is Senator John Thune, Republican, out of South Dakota. It says this bill provides for a land conveyance to South Dakota. It says specifically, if South Dakota submits an offer to the Forest Service to acquire approximately 266 acres of National Forest System land, y'all keep telling you about this land, within the Gilt Edge Mine Superfund boundary, for its market value, the Forest Service shall convey such land to South Dakota. So this is some land, y'all, moving around again. Senator Thune, Republican, out of South Dakota. One more minute, one more bill. Senate Bill 570. Senate Bill 570 is the American Financial Markets Integrity and Security Act. This is Marco Rubio, Republican, y'all, from Florida. It says this bill generally prohibits investment in certain Chinese military companies and entities reasonably believed to be involved in activities contrary to the national security or foreign policy interests of the United States. It says these entities may not sell securities to U.S. markets. Investment companies, insurance companies, and retirement plans are prohibited from investing in these entities. It says this bill also prohibits the use of federal funds to enter into or renew a contract with these entities. So this is Marco Rubio, y'all. He is all about national security, foreign affairs. That's his wheelhouse. Senate Bill 570. I told you when we get to Congress, we're going to have to know the players. We're going to have to know the game. And that's why keeping up with Congress is so important. I come to you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 p.m. to 5:30 Eastern Standard Time. Then I come over to the clubhouse space and we talk it up over there. But we have work to do. And we got to keep our eyes on these legislators. So it is Labor Day. I hope you guys are relaxing, because you know it's back to the grind. Back to the grind after today, if you have today off. So enjoy. Please go to the website, make a contribution. I will be back tomorrow right here with Keeping Up with Congress, y'all. See you tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in for Keeping Up with Congress. I am Tamara Johnson Shealey, your candidate for the United States Senate. I'm a progressive Democrat that believes that reparations will make America great. It is time that we bridge the divide in this country. Please go to the website, that's tamara4georgia.com, www.tamara, Tamara, 4, Georgia spelled out,